Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey, sorry about that. I was just finishing up an interview when you were calling, so I was hoping I'd get you.
Oh, no problem at all. I'm very glad that we're able to do this today.
Awesome, awesome. And where are you out of? Are you out of Belgium?
I'm actually out of Minnesota.
Oh, okay, okay. So someone was just calling me from Belgium. That's why I asked you.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry about that. Oh, it's a guy for an hour from now. He was just calling to confirm. So anyway, so you're from Minnesota. So you're from our neck of the woods and here in the States because I just did a bunch of European ones prior to this. So
oh, well, it's great to see that reception's already going on for the album so far. I mean, it's getting that worldwide traction right now, and it's absolutely worth it right now. I mean, I've gotten the chance to be able to check out the album so far over the last couple days, and I just love everything that's going on with this album, and it's so exciting to see it's coming out in just a couple months now.
oh, awesome, man. I'm glad. See, this is always a cool point in the process for us because we've been listening to these songs, some of these songs since 2018 when Bob first started writing the material for this. So, you know, we've been like absorbing this stuff for like, a couple of years now. And then, once we hit the studio, when we're in the studio, it's just like a couple of months of just that's all you're kind of feeding yourself is just those songs. So it's kind of nice to be at this point where we could step away and not listen as critically and just kind of enjoy it for what it is. And also, this process allows us to finally get feedback, from you guys, which is, and you guys are really the first people to hear this, so it's nice to get the feedback we've been getting so far. It's been overwhelmingly positive, which is nice because you never know coming out of the process. You're always like, well, we like it, but hopefully everybody else will like it. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. I know you guys don't have a lot of time to absorb it. This is all kind of happening quickly. So, but I'm glad at least you've had a little time to listen to it, and I'm glad you enjoy it. So thank you for the positive words.
Oh, absolutely. And I got so much more positive too as we get rolling along here. But yeah, I just wanted to say my initial thoughts with that and getting to check this album out. And I'm very happy to be able to do this, being a longtime fan of the band and just being able to spread some good word of Immolation because just everything we've been through over the last couple years, I really felt like I needed a new Immolation album, and I'm just so happy to see that it is coming out so soon.
Yeah, it was man, it was definitely I mean, it's an understatement to say it was a very challenging couple of years for everybody, not just for me or for the band, but for everybody. It's just been a really weird time and I think for a lot of us music was crucial in kind of allowing us to escape some of the reality of what was happening and you just kind of get lost in music. I did a lot. I know, and I could speak for, a lot of people I know that music was, a crucial part of surviving this for me and a lot of people. And, you know, uh, the fact that we were able to, complete the record and finally get into the studio this August and get the music out there and getting some of that feedback. And yes, you're not the first person that said that. I mean, I've seen a lot of comments on social media where people are like, "Wow, this is exactly what I needed." So it is, I think it's an important part of I think our lives, being music people. You know what I'm saying? Music. I mean, let's face it. For me, music has helped me through some of the hardest times of my life. Especially as a teenager. Coming up in school and transitioning into high school, and you know, I think music helps us in so many ways we're not even aware of until like later on. And you can look back and say, man, this song or this band really was a soundtrack to my youth, and it really helped me get through some of those difficult times. It allowed me to escape those darker moments and just kind of put things in perspective and just kind of you know just absorb yourself into something different and unique. So yeah, it's cool to hear that, man. I mean, music is a very unique force in our world. I've always believed that, more of a unifying force than anything else. So it's nice that we all have that. So
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. And again, just like thinking about the band in particular, just being able, just the beginning of the album alone, just like it felt so cathartic. I mean, being able to hear that transition from Abandon to An Act of God is just like it.
Yeah.
I needed something that heavy to be able to just like really feel things for this album, and it's so great to see that happen. And then when you go through all the songs on here, I mean, there's so many great highlights that are going on here, highlighted by some of the best production you guys have had on an album so far. I love this production so much. I think it's easily
Awesome.
my favorite production that you guys have done so far.
Wow, that is so awesome to hear, man, because we've always production's always been tricky with us. I mean, we always try to nail a production that kind of works with the tone of the album, the songs, the music, and it's always challenging. You're always kind of straddling that line between keeping it raw and dirty, with that feeling that we all love from, like, those earlier demos from the 80s that we've all collected, so straddling that line between that raw and just kind of darker sound to something that's at least not overly produced, but something that's polished enough where the instruments shine, and we've always, it's always been a challenge for us, especially in the drum department, to get a production that wasn't overly produced, but you could hear the instruments and they all kind of had their own moments to shine throughout the songs, and nothing stepped on anything else, and it's very difficult with this music, especially for us. I mean, and I think we finally have a great combination of people between Paul Orfino, who does all the recording and tracking for us, and Zach Oren, who's done the last number of records. And it's taken Zach a while, I think, to kind of grow with us and to understand what we were and who we were and what we were trying to achieve. And I agree, man. I have to agree with you. I really think he nailed it with this one. I think he did a great job with Atonement. I think he did a great job with the previous two as well. But there's something special about this one, and we've all agreed on this in the band, which is unusual, by the way, for us to all have that consensus that we all are happy with something in the band. But yeah, we all agree this one, production wise, is a special one for us, and it really, I think, captures everything that this band is about, and I'm glad you enjoy it, and I'm glad the feedback we've been getting so far has leaned in that direction. People are very excited and happy with the production, so that means a lot. I can't stress how happy we are to hear that, because it's always been a struggle for us in the production end. So that's awesome to hear. Thank you.
Oh, not a problem. And yeah, I think you guys just did find that right balance between having everything be raw and also everything being able to be clear. It's
Yes.
just like everything has like great definition behind it. And like you mentioned before, with like the drums, that can be so hard to do. Like with the snare, for example, on this album, I think it might be my favorite snare sound on an Immolation album. I mean, just when you can hear those blasts come in and everything,
Yeah.
it's just got that great tone behind it.
Yeah, it's got a nice crack. It's not processed sounding. I mean, we try to use as much of the original sounds from Steve's kit as possible, because I mean, the natural drums always sound the best. It's just that sometimes that can be challenging because, as a band that tunes to C and the vocals are super guttural, you have a lot of low frequencies in the mix there that are competing, and, that's something that, I guess a lot of people don't understand. It's not as easy as it sounds. It's very challenging, so I think Zach really did a great job and made this production shine like more than ever, man. And we're happy. And the drums do sound really good on this. Steve, man, he puts a lot of time and energy and effort to create the patterns and the beats and all the unique little nuances he throws in there, the embellishments. And I think that's what makes these songs so interesting. I mean, you can listen to just the drums on these songs, at least for me, and be interested, and like, wow, that sounds cool, and the fact that we had so much extra time due to the pandemic and the shutdown, the world shutdown. I mean, Steve had a lot of time to craft these songs and absorb them. So I think the fact that the production allows for all those little things that he created to be heard and audible throughout the mix is awesome, man. You know, I think it was some of his finest work on this record, our drummer. I mean, and we all agree. I mean, it's his shining moment. So I'm just so happy that the production, allows for that and allows for him to shine, because he deserves to have that moment, man. He's put a lot of time into all the records, but I think now I think the fans are finally starting to recognize his true talents. I mean, and what he's been there this whole time, and I'm just glad he's finally getting some of the recognition he's deserved for so long, especially in the with the drums, but I can't forget about the other instruments. I mean, I think everybody did a great job on this record. I think everything cuts through really nicely. This some of the best guitar leads I think ever on this record. I mean, just a lot of feeling, a lot of soul, and just a lot of great dynamics, that the production allows, people to understand and to follow, throughout the course of the song. So yes, I'm happy you agree with that.
Oh, totally. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because with the riffs that's going on here, it's just absolutely insane. And I love that so much. And like you mentioned, with the production value that's going on, you're able to have those dynamics. So when you have the guitars, either when it's just going like all guns blazing, or you're able to break things down a bit, or whatever the case is, it's just like there's so many great melodic moments that are going on.
Yeah.
Just when you're able to transition from those riffs and really structure the songs together, you can just really hear all the guitar riffs going on, and it works so good on this album. And I love the way that the songs are structured here, and the playing that you and Alex have on here. It's impeccable.
Nice. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad you appreciate it, man. I mean, the feedback, like I said, has been really overwhelmingly positive. I mean, we released the video track a little over a week ago, and man, the response to that was like, we were blown away by it. I mean, the comments and the positive feedback has just been, wow. It's just, we can't believe it. Let's just put it that way. We're like, wow, when did this band become cool? It was like, it was literally like we had that kind of moment where we were like, wow, when did we become like that band? You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of it's cool for us to experience that, that overwhelming sense of acceptance and positivity for the record so far. I mean, the fans have only heard the one song, so I'll give you that. But at least I know, like, guys like yourself, the people we're talking to now, who have heard the whole record, they really seem to enjoy it. So I'm just over the moon about that. Believe me.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for them to hear the rest of the album too. I mean, they're like I mentioned before, I mean, just like every song on here feels like it has such a great purpose behind it. And I love the dynamics, and whether it's the whole song, whether it's just the whole album structure that's going on, which I appreciate that you guys care so much about the album structure too, and making sure that all the songs flow together so well.
Yes.
Because having something like Apostle at the end of the album is just so important on an album like this, and it fits so perfectly at the end.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because this topic came up in the last interview, and I told the person I was doing the interview with, I was like, hey, listen, I mean, we spend a lot of time, because he loved the flow of the record. He's like, it's a long record. He's like, but when you start it and you get to the end of the last song, you're like, wow, that went pretty quick, and there was no lulls in it. And I told him, I said, we spend a lot of time, we agonize over the sequencing of the record, the song order on the record. I mean, that's something like we spend a lot of time, and we try to make sure there's a nice flow. You don't want to have like all the hard hitters up front, and then a lot of slower stuff at the end. You kind of lose that momentum. You want to keep people's attention from start to finish, and I think on this record, we have a nice flow. There's no lulls, but I think that also has to do with the fact that Bob wrote, like, 15 amazing songs. I mean, that have a lot of the classic Immolation elements throughout all of these songs. There's great dynamics in all the songs. There's peaks and valleys. There's that ebb and flow in all the songs. And yes, Apostle made the most sense as the closer, because that was ironically the last song Bob delivered to us. That came like earlier this year, probably around maybe March or so. And that was the last piece of the puzzle. So without getting ahead of myself, when it comes to writing the lyrics, I like to have all the songs together. I like to have all the songs finished and in front of me because, certain ideas that I have, or concepts lend better to certain songs musically, and I had an idea for Apostle that I've kind of had in the works and, was kind of waiting for that song, and we had all the songs up to that point and none of them really worked. And then when he delivered Apostle and I heard it for the first time, I'm like, yes, this is the song I've been waiting for. This is the song I'm going to use for that one concept I've been working on and that I didn't find a home for. So yeah, it's weird the way we work. And Bob, I think if you talk to Bob, he'll say the same thing. It's not about writing songs; it's about writing this long piece of music that's all interconnected. Yes, it's a bunch of songs, but they all have to work and fit together as a whole. And I think that's how he approaches the records, and I think you could really hear that on this one. Everything, all of these songs belong together. They're part of the same family. You know what I'm saying? So it is important, and the sequencing is super important. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And, just like what you mentioned with Apostle, I mean, that's so important when you got an idea of what you want to do lyrically and you're able to find something that just totally fits what you want to do. And also being able to throw the bass on top of that, too. I mean, there's a lot of work that really goes into that, but just hearing throughout the album and hearing what you can do vocally, hearing the bass on top of that as well, too. I mean, it's so great to see like just being able to find that great structure of what to do and just being able to continue to prove as a musician with every single release, because I've noticed that with you and just like hearing how much stronger and stronger that you can get lyrically with what's going on with the strings. I mean, just it's so important, and it's just great to see that you're getting stronger and stronger every time.
Wow, thank you, man. That it means a lot to hear that because 34 years into this, and this is a record number 11 for us. To get that kind of feedback is awesome to hear. I mean, because we try. I mean, we try to improve with each release. We put a lot of time into, obviously the arrangements. Bob, really puts a lot of time into that. And, if there's something that we're not feeling, we adjust. But we're all on the same page. So I think that helps. We all have the same vision. And like I said, we do spend a lot of time. I was always a lyric guy. So I'd be the kid, the 15-year-old kid that would buy, the Ride the Lightning record when it came out, and I'd put on the headphones and start at the beginning, Fight Fire with Fire, and read through the lyrics for the entire record, song by song. That's what I would do, and lyrics were always super important to me. Lyrics are always super important to Bob. He's a lyric guy too. So when we when the music's done and I kind of approach Bob and I say, here's some of the ideas I have, here's some of the concepts, and some of them are a little bit out there. Some of them are very hard to translate into a song lyrically, but we managed to make it happen. We work really well together in that department, and we feed off of each other, and I think the lyrics are probably my favorite part. Well, one of my favorite parts. I love hearing the new music. Like when Bob will deliver a song and email it to me and say, "Here's what I'm thinking of." This is song number 2 because obviously songs have no names at that point. They're numbered 1 through 15. So so he's like, "Here's song number 9." I'm like, "Oh, awesome!" And I'll listen to it. I'm like a little kid, hearing it for the first time. I have like that passion of the 15-year-old kid I used to be, what I'm saying, when listening to, an album I just purchased. So for me, it's exciting. And the lyrics are just as exciting when we kind of collaborate on that and I share my ideas with him and we go back and forth and he gives me some of his input and we build on those ideas. But it's a very important part of the process because the lyrics have to work hand in hand with the music and they have to kind of help those songs musically. Everything works together to create that, that dynamic that we talked about is very important. So yeah, it's all important to us, all of it. And we do spend a lot of time on it. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I love hearing that, just like after all this time, I mean, obviously being able to craft the formula of what the band is, but just still after all this time being able to go back and forth, knowing what works, what doesn't work, being able to collaborate with each other, knowing each other's input is just as important as the other, and just making sure that you're crafting the best songs possible. It's great to see that's still going after all this time. And again, with the world shutting down and everything over what's coming up on the next couple of years, I mean, the fact that you were able to spend so much time with this album and make sure that it really could be the best that it possibly could be, you were able to take that time and fix anything that needed to be fixed. I think it just worked out for the best, and it just shows that after all this time, after this many albums, after this many years together, that you can still make the best work possible. And it just feels like it's only going to get stronger from here on out. I mean, if this is what you guys are doing now for coming up in 2022, I just know the next album, when you have more of that fire that's going on, it's just going to be even more incredible.
We hope so. I mean, and we are fired up. I mean, we really get excited when we enter, the new, the new album cycle, whatever, whichever album it is. For each record, we always, we're always 110%. And man, we really, especially on this one, like you said, we had a lot of that extra time due to the world shutting down. So we made use of it, man. We really spent time crafting these songs and making them as best as we can. And we don't usually have that luxury, to be honest with you. So we took advantage of it full on this time around. And I think you could see that in the finished product. And I'm just happy that it turned out so well. But yeah, I mean, it's I think we're more passionate as the years go. Like, I mean, we're very hands-on. So every part of this record, from the songs to the arrangements to the lyrics, all the little embellishments, right down to the look and feel of the record, the artwork. I mean, we pretty much detail the entire cover before we send it out to the artist. Before we sent it to Illaran, Bob and I wrote up our ideas and concept, a whole, page and a half of just notes on that, placement of the figures on the cover, tone, coloring, vibe, everything. I mean, we're pretty meticulous in our vision, and we want that to be translated correctly. And I think that's how we are with every aspect of the band. I mean, we're really we're still passionate about it, which is I think awesome. All of us, like I see that passion in everybody in the band, and it's just so nice to see that this far along in our career, and that at this point in the game, we're all still like that. And I'm glad. I hope people understand that. I hope people see that. I think when they hear this record, they'll get a sense that, wow, these guys are still, pretty serious about what they do, and they're not phoning it in. And that's obviously, where we are. We're very passionate, and we never phone it in. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Oh, for sure. And I was going to say my favorite thing about talking to you right now is I can hear that passion in your voice right now when you're talking about this album too. I mean, of course, it's got to be
Cool.
so exciting to be able to hear the reception from myself and everyone else that gets to talk to you about this album right now. But
Of course,
I can
of
just
course.
hear it in your voice, just like how excited you are to talk about these songs, to talk about the album, everything to look forward to in the future. And, hopefully with the world opening back up at some point and being able to play these songs in some kind of live capacity, it's just like I can just hear it in your voice, and that just makes me even more excited for the album, and I'm already listening to it.
That's all. Well, yeah, but we feed off of you guys as well. I mean, like, just like in a live situation, for example, when the crowd is just like really into it, man, that energy is crucial for us. I mean, to that give and take. What I'm saying, you feel that energy from the crowd, and you just want to give that much more back. And it goes for this as well. I mean, I could hear the excitement in your voice as well. I mean, you seem to be really enjoying the record, and you're happy with the songs, and you're conveying this to me, and I could hear it in your voice. So I'm psyched, because like this is the first time, like I said earlier, first time we're getting feedback. So to get that kind of feedback to me is awesome. And I just kind of want to just share that excitement with everybody. Like, hey, yeah, we spent a lot of time on this and we're happy with it and we're happy you're happy with it. So, it kind of works both ways is what I'm trying to say. Once the fans are excited about it, man, that fires us up even more. We can't wait to get out there and perform these songs live for the first time. We performed Blooded twice. We did 2 shows in the States this year. We did the Psycho Vegas Fest in August, and we did the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest in September. And we played Blooded at both of those. And man, the response for a new song that nobody's heard before was like overwhelming, man. And man, that fired us up. Just that alone fired us up. We didn't even have the mixes done yet, at that point. So we didn't even hear the album completed yet. And we were getting that kind of feedback. So for us, the whole journey has been exciting, man. So yeah, I mean, we are excited, man. That's that's the real deal.
Oh, and I'm just so happy to hear that too. And it goes to show that no matter how long that you're in the game for, you never know when you think you're at your highest point. You never know when you're going to be able to keep going higher up. And it really feels like that's where you guys are at right now. I mean, just like what you mentioned right now with Blooded, which is such an incredible song. And I can only imagine how great it'll be when I get to hear that in that live setting. It's when you get that kind of reception for brand new stuff that people haven't even heard yet, and it shows that you guys are just continuing to rise up and with every release. And yeah, I'm only a couple listens into it and I've only had this for a couple days, but I really feel like this is some of the finest work that you guys have done. And I think from that live reception that you guys are getting that sense of it as well too. And then once touring and festival shows are able to happen more and more and you're able to play more of that, I think people are going to realize that you guys are just absolutely at the top of your game, and it's only going to get better.
Well, thank you. And I hope that's the case. I mean, you know, if nothing else, people know we're here to stay. We're not fickle in the sense that, hey, we're going to do this for so long, we're going to disappear for a while. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've been in it for the long haul. I mean, we haven't gone away. We've been consistent. At least in my opinion, we've tried to deliver, solid albums throughout our entire career, and we've always, I think maintained that level of passion and excitement for what we do throughout that. And we've hit some rougher moments in our history. That time in between the first album and the second album was a 5-year gap, just like this has been a 5-year gap. But that was a little bit more difficult for us because we were still young, we were still developing. It was our first record. So we come at it now with 34 years of experience, highs and lows. So we have a certain confidence going into each album cycle that we know what we want to achieve, what we want to convey through our music. We know what works and what doesn't work. So I think it allows for the process to go a little bit smoother each time around. And each time, again, we learn something new each time. Each time we come out of the studio, we're like, okay, well, the next one we have to kind of focus more on this because even though it came out good, could have came out better, or whatever. So we're always our own worst critics, but I think we parlay that into something positive by addressing those issues for the following release. So and I think that's what it's about. I mean, we'll never create a perfect record. It's always a process. You're always trying to get better and develop more. But this is a special one because I think Bob really, wrote some of the best material I think of his career. I mean, this is like some of my favorite Immolation material, and it's like even though I'm like, Bob's like a brother to me. We're like best friends, and we've known each other for like 35, 36 years. But I'm a fan of everything he writes, and I'm saying very little that Bob delivers to me that I'm like, nah, this isn't good. It does happen once in a while. He'll write a song and I'm just like, nah, it's just not there yet, man. It's not there. Needs more, needs less of this or whatever. But that's very rare. I mean, usually Bob will deliver, a song and I'll listen to it and I'm like, wow, that's fucking amazing. So, I try to encourage him, to be the best he can. and he always seems to kind of outdo himself. You know what I'm saying? So it's great. It's great to hear that stuff for the first time and to imagine the potential, because that's kind of, one of my favorite parts, like I said earlier, is like when I hear the demo stuff, like Bob will, write the music and he'll put it together with some just kind of basic mock drum beats, just so we kind of get a feel of the dynamics and the slow and the faster parts and so forth and so on. So it's kind of like a template, really. So, when I hear these demo songs for the first time, I immediately like envision them, completed. Like I start imagining, wow, that would be a great part for like a cool, vocal section here, or that would be a great, there's the part where we're going to do the solo, and you could kind of do some more solo here, or you could do, maybe we could do some sick vocal stuff here, or maybe you could do some cool, extra guitar part over this part to kind of make it really, drive or whatever. But for me, that's awesome. When I hear those raw songs and then I kind of imagine them, has how they will sound when they're, that inspires me, lyrically and for the vocals and everything else. I mean, so it's cool. I think we all feed on that. I think when Steve hears the music for the first time and he starts, crafting his drum parts, I think it's the same for him. When Alex, heard these songs, I mean, Alex, recorded, the rhythms on this song on this album along with Bob, and he did a lot of solos on this record too. So it was the first time we had anybody other than Bob do solos. And, and Alex, I know, fed off of, the music as well. And he nailed it too. So I think everybody, came to the table and brought something unique and special. And, but it all stemmed from, what Bob wrote, what Bob gave to us, you know what I'm saying? So that's hugely important, and that's the most important part, I think.
Oh, it's so true. And when you do get that formula together and you have that chemistry together too, where all four of you want to be able to show off what you can do and make the songs the best that they possibly can be, and just make everything the best that you can be for the band. It's so important. And just hearing this final product here with this album and just seeing where you guys are at now in 2021, of course, the album coming out in just a couple months now in 2022. I'm just so happy as a longtime fan of the band, seeing where you guys are at right now, just hearing the excitement in your voice, hearing, just like how excited that you are for each other, just like being able to see what everyone else is capable of in the band. And just, again, the final product, listening to this from start to finish, the whole album feel behind it just feels so perfect. And I can't wait to see more reception of it, to see you guys live again when the possibility comes with that. And just being able to talk to you about all of this has just been so great. And
Cool.
I can't wait to be able to show off this interview myself, so more people are able to get as excited about the album as I am.
Well, awesome, man. We appreciate that, man. I mean, that's how, that's always been how this music got out there to the masses. Back when we first started, it was, it was about writing letters and trading demos and getting interviews through the mail with fanzines from all over the world. And that was our internet. That's how our music, spread like wildfire. Guys like yourself who are just as passionate about the music as we are as musicians. And your passion comes in a different form. I mean, you listen to the music, you critique it, you write about it, and you spread that message, more than we can. So I think it's very important to have that. I mean, that's essential to our scene, to me, is to have that. So thank you. Thank you for spreading that and for taking the time to talk to us. I mean, it means a lot to us, believe me.
Oh, and it goes both ways too. I mean, this is an interview I've always wanted to be able to do and be able to promote you guys. So I'm glad that everything was finally able to come together where I can make this happen, you can make this happen, and just being able to promote what I think is going to be my favorite Immolation album to date, with Acts of God coming out February 18th through Nuclear Blast. This has been an absolute pleasure to be able to talk to you, and just hearing the high spirits that you have with the band, the album, everything going forward. It's been an incredible time, and I thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
Oh, of course, man. Thank you. Thank you for making the time for us. And, the questions were great. And it was just nice to just kind of just sit here and just talk, talk about music. And I'm just happy that you like it so much. I'm really happy. And I can't wait till we get out there on tour. Hopefully, we'll meet on tour. We come up near you.
Oh yeah, I've seen you guys before, and it's just been a great time. But being able to hear songs off this album in a live capacity, that's just got me so excited for the future.
No, psych, man. Yeah. And I think, we'll obviously have a lot of these songs in heavy rotation for sure in the next number of tours. So, because we're excited about playing them, I can't wait to play these songs. So it's going to be awesome.
Oh, definitely. Well, I know it's a busy day for you with press, so I'll let you go. But I just want to thank you again for taking all this time to be able to talk to me. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been
Same here.
a
Same
real
here.
highlight for me. This is probably going to be my last interview of the year, so I just thank you for that. And yeah, I can't wait to be able to show this off. And once again, thank you for taking the time to do this. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Of course, man. And thank you so much, man. I appreciate it as well. And enjoy. Have a great, all the best for 2022. Yeah, let's hope we have a better year, man. Let's hope for that.
Oh, absolutely agreed. Take
All
care.
right, man. Be good. Bye bye.
Bye bye.